was as bad gets. And I don't know whether to laugh or cry or be somewhere in between, because the good news is Trump was masterful. Biden was a disaster. Trump won the debate. Trump's going to get a big post-debate bounce. There'll be a huge bump in the polls for the already healthy poll numbers that Donald Trump has. The scary part is, who are they going to replace Biden with? Who are they going to come up with to there's no way, as I've said over and over, not going to be Joe Biden. Who's it going to be? If you missed the debate, you were one of the few, but let me give you a little montage. This is some of the highlights of Joe Biden's disastrous performance.
Both colors. Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans. The impact on the choice, the idea that they're gonna. I'm proposing that everybody the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I would not raise the cost of Social Security for anybody. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it stopped. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
Now, that's from the Trump campaign. Other than the scary music, that actually happened last night. That was what Joe Biden sounded like. From the very first time he opened his mouth, America gasped and could not believe he was in the condition he was in. After the debate, he could barely walk down the 2 little tiny steps in front of the debate stage. That video was leaked. And understand something. They are pretty much unified. I'm talking about the Democrat politicians and punditry that he must be replaced. Americans now know that Joe Biden can't be the nominee. And so I've got a lot of emotions today. I've got a whole, bunch of contradictory feelings. I'm ecstatic that Trump did so well. He cleared yet another hurdle. He won the debate decisively, and they know it. The Democrats all know it. Go down the list from Van Jones to Jen Psaki to David Axelrod to Anderson Cooper to even Joy Reid. You go down the whole list. They're all saying it. Obama's campaign secretary from the Obama years, he said it. They looked 30 years apart, he said. So they know. They know it's over for Joe Biden. It is completely and unequivocally finished. The national nightmare of Joe Biden came to an end last night. So now the question becomes, who's it going to be? Now we got to worry about who they put in there, and now we have to consider the fact that whoever they put in there to replace Biden could perform better against Trump than certainly Biden would. Wow. Welcome aboard. It is a Friday, June the 28th. We're in the Relief Factor studios. And incidentally, I know Florida. I got a text message. The music is loud. That's on the spot. Sometimes the music, we have no control over that. Lighten up. You get the gist of it. We'll find a better clip without the scary music. But the bottom line is, now the search is on, and you can be assured that the meetings are underway as we speak for them to decide who's going to replace Joe Biden on the ticket. Now, again, I wanted to be wrong. I've always wanted to be wrong. Trump will beat Biden like a drum. But if I'm right, this could be trouble for us. This could make it harder. 800-655-MIKE. I always turn to the smartest voices in the room. That's you. A lot of shows have talking heads and a bunch of authors and doctors and writers. I want you. I want the voice of the American people on this caller-driven show. So flood my phone lines with your reaction to this epic debate last night in Atlanta, Georgia.
He's the one that killed people with the bad water, including hundreds of thousands of people dying and also killing our citizens when they come in. We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen. We call it migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. They're killing our citizens at a level that we've never seen before. And you're reading it like these three incredible young girls over the last few days. One of them, I just spoke to the mother, and they just had the funeral for this girl, 12 years old. This is horrible what's taken place. What's taken place in our country, we're literally an uncivilized country now. He doesn't want it to be. He just doesn't know. He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like. And we have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast because they're going to destroy our country.
That's the second part of the story. The first part of the story is how bad Biden was. The second part is how great Trump was, and that's by any objective measure. Incidentally, brutal to see the CNN split screen during that exchange and many others, where all Joe Biden could do was glare helplessly at Donald Trump. Just glare, the angry old man glare. Wow. A lot of text messages on the MyPillow text line, like Kathleen in Michigan. If Joe's replacement is chosen at the Democrat convention, hopefully, does that mean Kamala is out too? What is the best scenario to get rid of both of them? You can't. You can't. How are progressives going to kick the woman of color to the curb? How are they going to disrespect a black woman like that? That's the dilemma they have. So you can't get rid of her and him. So you either got to make her the nominee or you've got to keep her as the VP, which, of course, always reminds me of my favorite TV show, Veep on HBO, because that's what always happened to Selena Meyer. She kept getting thrust back into the VP role when she wanted to be president. This is Veep in real life. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's go. 800-655-MIKE. Gerald is up in Canada. Hi, Gerald. Welcome to the Mike Gallagher Show. How are you?
I'm great. I just want to be brief, and I'm going to say I have no love for the two commentators, but I will truthfully admit, and surprisingly, they did a good job, and I thought they didn't do anything to ambush President Trump, who is my hero.
I couldn't agree with you more. You are so right, and as I posted last night on X, I owe Jake Tapper and Dana Bash an apology. When Hugh Hewitt said they'd be fair, frankly, you could read between the lines. You know what I was thinking. I thought, come on, Hugh. No, Hugh was right. They were professional. Now, you got to check out how the left is reacting to CNN and to Dana Bash and to Jake Tapper. Over at the Daily Beast, headline, Jake Tapper and Dana Bash's debate performance was an embarrassment. The new abnormals, Danielle Moody, said, do they know what they were? They weren't moderators. They were effing mic stands. I mean, they were livid. And you know why? Because they can't believe that it was fair. The left wants to cheat all the time. And if they weren't screeching at Donald Trump and interrupting him and shutting off his mic, they're not happy. You had two men last night who had it was relatively civil in terms of the content. You had two men that were able to talk within their allotted time. In fact, much of the evening, both of them were under their time. They had to go back and say, well, you've got 67 seconds left, Mr. President, or you've got 84 seconds left. There wasn't any interrupting. There wasn't screaming. There wasn't drama. And places like the Daily Beast hated it. They hate fairness. They claim to be all about equity over on the left. They're not about equity. They don't care about fairness. They want the deck stacked. They want it rigged. Why do you think they want to cheat in elections? Why do you think they're against voter ID laws? They can't cheat if you got to show an ID. And they sure can't believe that CNN handled the debate last night fairly and even-handedly and professionally. Jeff in Pittsburgh. Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Mike, how are you?
Good.
2 quick points.
Sure.
CNN's post-debate coverage, I figured I'd change the channel, didn't want to see the spin. They went immediately to basically throwing Biden under the bus. The very first, John King and then Van Jones.
Hey, same
I watched about 20 minutes of that coverage, Mike.
Same over at MSNBC, Jeff. It was just like that. Jen Psaki, Rachel Maddow, all of them are throwing Biden under the bus. I mean, he's done, Jeff. He's finished.
I watched that coverage for about 20 minutes after the debate. Kamala Harris's name was not mentioned, I don't believe, a single time.
Well, Anderson Cooper sat down with her for 8 minutes. It was a fascinating interview that everybody's got to watch, and I'm going to play it for you because when Anderson Cooper tore into her, you knew something really, really wild has happened here. Good to hear from you, sir. Jax in Florida. Hey, Jax.
Hey, I feel like the Democrats threw Biden under the bus because they're trying to replace him, and that's why CNN did, quote unquote, such a good job. They made Biden look bad.
Yep.
And the whole goal is to have the convention in Chicago probably replace him with Michelle. There's been articles yesterday, the day before, that Michelle doesn't feel comfortable campaigning with Biden, this, that, and the other. So when you go to Axelrod right after the debate and he's throwing him under the bus like that, that's letting you know that's where Obama's at. He was a former Obama advisor.
He sure was. Well, and Obama's own press secretary, that David Plouffe, got on TV and said they looked like they were 30 years apart from each other. 30 years apart. They're only a couple years difference in age. And, of course, he's right. Biden, look, I was so shocked at the first 5 minutes of the debate when Biden sounded as bad as he did. Oh, my gosh. I thought, what in the world is wrong with this guy? What in the here's let me play this clip for you. We got 110 clips today. Here's the Obama campaign manager over on MSNBC describing the debate as a DEFCON 1 moment for the Democrats.
Well, I think consistent with your reaction, Rachel, and others on the panel, it's kind of a DEFCON 1 moment. I do think Lawrence and Chris give a very important caveat. Listen, I've been deeply involved in presidential campaign debates. Some went well, some didn't go well. The only thing that matters, and you won't really know for 3 or 4 days, is how the voters that will decide this election will react. I would also add, I have deep suspicion that Donald Trump with swing voters bombed as well. And that's the tragedy. Because I think Joe Biden, the biggest thing in this election is voters' concerns, and it's both swing voters and base voters with his age, and those were compounded tonight. So what the campaign's going to do is try and run ads. Biden will go out tomorrow and the next day being aggressive. I mean,
turn it off.
It wasn't just
we don't need to hear anymore. But that's the DEFCON 1 moment where they realize, look, it's finished. It's absolutely finished. And look, we can speculate, and I want to talk to Clint on line 4 in Indiana, who suggests that it was a bad mistake for Trump to accept the terms of this deal. Remember, Biden wanted this early debate. We've never had a debate this early. They've always had debates after the nominating process at both political conventions. This is the first time there's ever been a debate this early, and that was at the Biden campaign's request. Was that a mistake? Well, perhaps, because now they got time to find somebody else. 800-655-MIKE. I hope you join us.
We are living right now in a rat's nest. They're killing our people in New York, in California, in every state in the union, because we don't have borders anymore. Every state is now a border. And because of his ridiculous, insane, and very stupid policies, people are coming in and they're killing our citizens. We're literally an uncivilized country now.
In the ReliefFactor.com studios, here's Mike.
I'm not somebody fond of saying I told you so, but boy, I told you so on so many levels. I told you they'd ask about whether you'd accept the 2024 election, Donald Trump. Remember that? And they did. And his answer was splendid. They immediately lied about his answer after the debate. I saw Kamala Harris tell Anderson Cooper Trump still says he won't accept the outcome of the election in 2024, no matter how it turns out, when he most certainly said he would. Here's what he said on the debate stage last night.
President Trump, the question was, will you accept the results of the election, regardless of who wins? Yes or no, please.
If it's a fair and legal and good election, absolutely. I would have much rather accepted these, but the fraud and everything else was ridiculous. And if you want, we'll have a news conference on it in a week, or we'll have another one of these in a week. But I will absolutely, there's nothing I'd rather do. It would be much easier for me to do that than I'm running again. I wasn't really going to run until I saw the horrible job he did. He's destroying our country. I would be very happy to be someplace else, in a nice location someplace. And again, no indictments, no political opponent stuff, because it's the only way he thinks he can win. But unfortunately, it's driven up my numbers and driven them up to a very high level because the people understand it.
And again, if you're watching this coverage today on Salem News Channel and you're seeing the clips as we're playing them for you, you see Biden's face. It's actually sad. And I don't say that to be a smart aleck. He's staring into the abyss. He's got that old man stare, that glare that he would look over at Trump. But when he wasn't looking over at Trump, he would just look down, or he would just look out into nothingness. Nothingness. Now, let's go back to the issue of the debate positioned as early as it was. Clint in Indiana has, I think, a really smart observation about the timing of the whole thing. Hey, Clint, thanks for your patience. How are you?
Hey, thanks for taking the call.
You bet.
Yeah. So first and foremost, as an American, I was appalled at what I saw last night. And this isn't something that just came out of nowhere. Democrats have known for 2+ years that that's what was going to happen. So I think this was a strategic play by the Democrats. Have a very early debate. If he faltered like they probably thought he was going to do, now it's time for him to regroup and try to put somebody else in there. And I think as a Republican, I think it was a bad choice by Trump because we've allowed them now to kind of reset the stage, and they're going to come back with somebody different. There's no way, absolutely no way Biden is on the ticket.
Yeah.
And unfortunately.
Let me go back to your first point, if I may. Let me go back to your first point, because I get what you're saying, and it's real easy to look in the rearview mirror and say what we should have done. Number one, do you really think that Biden would come off as badly as he did last night? Did you did see that coming? Because listen, we've been talking about his fragile, feeble, addled state all year. Of course, it's not a surprise. But come on, that was as bad as he's ever been, don't you think?
I 100% agree, and not that I predicted that, but all these individuals who have been sitting in the meetings with him who have said he's sharp as a tack and he's doing
right.
Like Democrats have been putting this. Come on.
Well, look at his wife. Look at his wife. Look at his wife pushing him out there. And Clint, great point, by the way, and great observations. I got to play this clip, which is going to chill you to the bone, because a lot of people say on a purely human level, just on a human level, just on a level of compassion, if you think about this man as a frail elderly man who couldn't even walk down the steps afterwards. CNN evidently leaked the post-debate video. They were off the air, but they showed a video of Jill and an aide needing to help him down these steps. Well, you got to see the steps. They're so thin and they're so small, a toddler could walk down those steps. And he's walking down the steps like he's trying to climb down a 20-foot ladder. The man is out of it. And no, I didn't think he'd be this bad. Here was, I think 38 is the clip, right, with Jill Biden. It's not really labeled the right way, but it says disaster. Is that the right clip of Jill Biden, disaster watch? All right. So after the debate, shockingly, Biden decided to go to some kind of party. And Jill Biden was touting his performance and singing his praises. Now, she has to know. I mean, as they never stop telling us, she's a doctor. She must be smart. Listen to what power, what craving power and throwing any human condition aside because you want desperately to remain in power sounds like from the First Lady of the United States of America.
No, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Why?
There's a picture of her screeching that Trump lied in front of him with his frozen expression. And it, as I said on social media today, and I'm up in my game on X. So follow me on X at Radio Talker Mike, because I'm having a good time there and a lot of people engaging with me, and I've got hundreds of new followers this week. Maybe we'll get thousands after this crazy debate last night. But as I posted that picture of Jill Biden, Dr. Jill, screeching at the crowd that Trump lied and congratulating him like he's a kindergartner who just finished his finger painting. You answered the questions, Joe. Well, yeah, as opposed to the alternative where you didn't answer any questions. And the crowd cheered. Yes, you answered the questions. And when I posted the picture this morning on X, my caption was, "This is like a horror movie, and Dr. Jill is the monster." I mean, look, I hate to get personal here. I don't know her personally or Joe Biden for that matter. But you know something? What a monstrous thing for them to pretend that he's okay. This family is a crap show. And it's a nightmare. A complete nightmare. Bill's in Pittsburgh. Bill, you're on the Mike Gallagher Show, 19 before the hour. Feel free to join us, incidentally, 800-655-MIKE. Call or text us, 800-655-6453. Hello, Bill.
Hey, how you doing, Mike? Love the
good.
show.
Thank you.
I have mixed emotions about it like you do. I loved Trump's performance, and Joe Biden, I was shocked. He was worse than I expected. But maybe, just maybe, some of the Democratic voters will wise up and see that they've been lied to by all these liberal commentators. And maybe, just maybe, it might change some votes, you know?
No doubt about it, Bill. And thank you for the kind words. No question that there's going to be a lot of people who weren't considering voting for Donald Trump who are going to do so now. And CNN did Biden in by making the debate available to everybody. Everybody was airing it. Millions and millions of people on all of the various platforms. I mean, that's the best they could have hoped for was, well, maybe nobody noticed. Maybe a debate like this that was such a catastrophe for Biden wasn't seen by a lot of people. Well, I think it was. Frank in Naples, Florida. Hi, Frank.
Good. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
All right. All
Good.
right. I have a weird theory, but entertain this.
Okay.
What do you think that the Democratic operatives use this as an opportunity to essentially eliminate Joe Biden physically from the face of the planet? Make it look like an accident, old age, what have you. And
they're not going to.
Hang on. Hear me out.
They're not going to physically. They're not going to physically. They're not going to physically.
Kamala Harris.
They're not going to physically harm the guy.
Listen.
I mean, come on.
You know what? He's served his purpose. He's the Manchurian candidate.
But they don't need to. He's done. They don't need to physically harm him. He's finished.
But
they're not going to keep him there.
How do you clean up Kamala Harris's loose end? Well, you install her as president. You get her into the convention.
Yep.
And then the powers that be Governor Hairgel, who's doing push-ups in the wings.
Yep.
Gets in there, gets the nomination, and decides to keep her as vice president.
We gotta pray for the safety and security of all of our leaders, and nobody wants anybody harmed. And I get it. I mean, look, we're in a crazy time where crazy, wacky conspiracies are running amok. But no, they don't need to harm him. Nobody needs to touch a hair on Donald Trump or Joe Biden's head. This is all gonna play out, and Biden is going to get the message. And this is what to me is so intriguing. Biden is going to get the message that it's over, it's finished for him. And how does he step down? What does he do? This is a prideful guy, and you just heard Dr. Jill. She's a prideful woman. They're not going to want to give up easily. How are they going to talk him out of stepping down? Which I guess, speaks to the last caller's point. Oh, well, maybe they'll have to take him out physically. None of that's going to happen. But from a political survivor, it's over for him. I've been saying it all along. 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453.
Mike Gallagher.
Making sure that we continue to strengthen our healthcare system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare.
I mean, the most hysterical part was watching Trump cock his head every time Biden went off the rails. It was like one of those nature films where you see the tiger circling its prey and honing in. Trump would just look over at him like, oh my gosh, you're going off the rails, buddy. You're going off the rails big time. Look, the fight in many ways is just beginning. The good news is Trump won and won big, and he's going to get a huge boost in the polls. The bad news is this gives the Democrats time to find somebody else who will likely perform better than Biden would have performed, which isn't saying much. A tree stump could perform better than Biden did last night. It was a disaster of epic proportions. But the point is they know it here. So listen, I'm in such a great mood. I can't even get upset with a caller who's a Biden voter who feels that Biden got stronger as the night went on last night. It would be A.W. from the Eastern Shore of Virginia. How you doing, A.W.?
I'm fine, but I mean, when you say I feel like he got stronger, I just thought he got better. That first 7 minutes was horrific. When he locked up, I told my wife, I said, oh my God, they're going to have a heyday with this. Because I spend a lot of time listening to you guys and knowing how they were going to spin it. And I said, well, they don't even have to spin this. They've done it themselves.
Well, what are you listening to? Hang on. Hold your thought there for a moment. You say you listen to us guys to hear how we're spinning it. Is MSNBC, CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, and all of liberal media that you follow spinning it too? Because they're all saying he bombed badly and needs to step down.
CBS had that panel. They thought he did horrible. I couldn't argue with that.
Everybody's saying he did horrible. He's done, A.W. Yeah. He's finished. He's done.
Oh, I don't think they'll take him off the ticket.
Good.
I don't.
Good. I hope you're right. I hope they stay with him because he'll lose in a landslide, and that will be great news.
The only way they would remove him from the ticket if he did it himself.
Right. I got it. Yeah, I know A.W. All right, A.W. There's a Biden voter. He got better. I think getting better means he didn't collapse and have to get taken off the stage on a stretcher. He got better. Great text message from David in Carrollton, Texas. Great point, too. He says, I'm surprised CNN stayed with the split screen during the whole debate because some of Biden's worst moments were when Trump was speaking, Biden just stood there glaring with his mouth open and a blank, wide-eyed stare. David, you are so right. Look, it was one of the worst debate performances any of us have ever seen in the history of the country. You know, even the Nixon-Kennedy debate, you go back to 1960, it was argued that Richard Nixon really won the debate with John Kennedy substantively. But Kennedy was smart. He embraced the power of television and the impact of television. And he went out and got makeup. Nixon didn't put on any makeup apparently or much. He was sweating profusely. If you watched the Nixon-Kennedy debate, you thought that Kennedy won. If you listened to it on the radio, you felt Nixon won. But look, I don't know that we've at one time, who was the guy, was it not Perot, was it the Admiral? Where am I? Who am I? Remember that moment in one of the debates? I think it was a vice presidential debate, and the poor guy stood there and said, who am I? Where am I? What am I? That was one moment. For Biden, it was 90 minutes of this. Oh my gosh, it was 90. And look, was there a funnier moment than the two of them arguing about their golf game? Come on, that was such a classic moment. We got to play that for you. I got so many clips. You know which one it is, Christian? This was a great moment. And golfers get very, very defensive about their handicap. This is a big deal to golfers. Joey, my best friend Joey is a golfer, and he's very proud of his handicap. This was one of the funniest moments of the night.
6'5" and only 223 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, that's what anyway, just take a look at what he says he is and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie that he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8.
Never.
But I have, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay,
let's not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to turn.
Let's not act like children.
Let's not act like. Please, you're saying you're a 6 handicap. I've seen your swing. Let's not act like children. Have you seen Biden swing? Look, he ain't a 6 handicap in his dreams. But that was a moment. Oh my gosh. How'd you like to be one of the 16 people who prepped Biden for that crap show of a performance last night? Are they in the witness protection program? You know, they identified them all by name. They put all their pictures up. They were all proud. Oh, we're prepping Joe Biden. We're ready to go. We got Joe Biden. Uh-huh. What are they doing right now? I hope they've polished off their resumes or they're all retired or something, because you wouldn't have them prep you for anything. What a classic. It's over. It's over for Joe Biden. And now what? Now who do they come up with? Who are they going to pull out of their hat? Now, look, I want to stay in my good mood and convince myself that AW is right, that they'll stick with Biden. Surely they can't be that stupid. I mean, when you look at the unanimous nature of the cries for him, Friedman over at the New York Times, Nicholas Kristof, Rachel Maddow, Claire McCaskill, David Axel. I mean, they're all saying it. They're all saying the same thing. He's done. He's got to step down. So what do they? J.B. Pritzker? Is he excited today? Is he bellied up to the buffet and getting ready to dive in to take a bite out of Donald Trump? Gretchen Whitmer? They actually think that dope is presidential material. Gretchen Whitmer, maybe? Of course, there's always Gavin Newsom. Oh, my gosh. And, of course, Tracy had the funniest line of all with that golf exchange between Biden and Trump. Can you imagine Joe Biden carrying a bag of golf clubs? He couldn't get off the stage last night without Jill's assistance. And these were baby steps. These were tiny little 2-inch high steps. He climbed off that thing. He looked like somebody coming off of Mount Kilimanjaro. He was terrified of falling over he couldn't carry around a putter by itself. All right, we're ready to go here. The fun's just beginning. 15 minutes before the hour. We'll continue. 800-655-MIKE. I see another caller. Poor, pitiful Manny has been calling all day from Chicago. Wants to talk about what a terrible job Trump did last night. Sorry, Manny. Not today, my friend. Not today.